What's going on, everybody? Almost Counts Collectibles here, and in today's video we're going to be adding a little bit of customization to our Megazord Battle Pack, the 5-pack release of the Dino Megazord from the Re-ignition line. Now, with the Battle Pack, they added some really cool updated paint apps, and a lot of them are improvements. Some of them are actually inaccurate, but we are going to make some corrections. Now, we're not going to go all out. We're not going to completely disassemble and paint all of the gray, silver, or chrome and try to make this 100% show accurate. We're just going to correct some, what I believe to be some glaring mistakes or absences of some of the paint apps, just so that it looks a little bit better. Now, with Pterodactyl. The problem with Pterodactyl is, Pterodactyl kind of has two different looks. There is the show accurate look of Pterodactyl when it is in solo Zord form, with a bunch of white on top and even around the edges. And then there is what the Pterodactyl looks like when it is actually a part of the Megazord. Now, since the Megazord is just a suit, and it's not actually 5 Zords combined to make a robot, when it's in suit form, the main problem with Pterodactyl is you don't see any of the white that is on Pterodactyl. You also don't really notice or see the black lines on the chest, which actually pretty much go all the way around and through the middle, that are kind of obvious when the Pterodactyl is forming the Zord. But once you're in Zord form, this is pretty much just all silver, and those black lines don't exist anymore. And like I said, the white doesn't really exist anymore either, and the part of the tail that is exposed on the actual Megazord is more of a silver than a white. So, in all fairness, this is pretty close to what Pterodactyl looks like. I mean, the head should also be white. The pink on top should not be a solid line. It should be two kind of different pink paint apps on the sides of the head. But this was fairly close. However, like I said, in Megazord form, this just stands out a little bit too much for it to look right. So I am just going to use the initial release Pterodactyl for now, because all of the white is gray. There's no black lines through the chest. This part is actually gray. I just think it looks better in Megazord form, and that's what I care the most about. So we're not really going to do anything with Pterodactyl right now for this video. With Mastodon. Mastodon is actually pretty good. There's nothing glaring to me that is off. Most of the basic paint apps that you need are there, and they look good. So fortunately, we don't really have to do anything with Mastodon. There is something about Mastodon I will talk about when we're done with the video towards the end. But as far as paint apps and stuff go, Mastodon is pretty good. Now, with Triceratops. A lot of the additions to Triceratops were positives. We got the painted claws, the little vents, the pieces on top. We got the white all the way through the eye here. All of that is great, except for the fact that they didn't correct the color of the head where it was gray. They actually just painted it a shiny silver color instead. So we're going to paint this white on Triceratops, and we are going to paint the missile on Triceratops. And we're actually probably going to make a custom red square sticker to go higher up on the knee here that looks bigger. And that'll probably be it for the Triceratops. Next, we have Sabertooth Tiger. Once again, a lot of the additions to Sabertooth Tiger were positives. We got the chest painted here. We got the additional lines here. We got the ears painted in. All of that is great. We even got some more paint apps. But they actually changed the color of this piece right here, maybe thinking that was supposed to be the rear wheel. This is not. This is supposed to be a gray or silver color, so we're going to correct that. We are also going to paint in the gap for the mouth and probably the teeth silver right here as well. And then we are going to modify and paint a missile and also make a custom sticker for this as well. And then Sabertooth Tiger should be good to go. All right, lastly, So the amazing paint apps added to the tail of the T-Rex here. So prior, on the first release, they made this little jaw vent, which is what I'm calling it. They made this white, which technically wasn't right. It should be more of a silver or gray, but that looked better, more closer to the actual color. Well, now they painted it black for some reason. This should not be black. We're going to paint this silver. We're going to paint the upper teeth silver. They should not be white. We are going to add the top window to the head here. This should be a silver color, kind of outlined in black. The eyes are more of a black color. They should be like a dark blue. I think I'm going to leave them alone for now because it just doesn't stand out that bad to me. And then we're going to add some black lines halfway down the leg portion here. And that should pretty much finish up T-Rex. I might make a few additions to the Megazord face as well. We'll look at that later. But those are the basic things that we're going to change on our Re-ignition Megazord, just to give it that final kind of touch to make it look a little bit better. And we'll show you the final product. We'll take you along, show you a little bit as we do it in case you want to do it to yours. I'll show you what I use. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, everybody, we are all done with our paint upgrades and customizations that we have done to our Zords. Let's go ahead and check them out one at a time. We're going to start with Sabertooth Tiger here. Now, right here in the back, they painted this portion black. It was gray on the first release, which was technically correct. So we had to correct that, and we went with our chrome silver paint pen here to go over that. We did that on both sides of the Zord. So we fixed that. Up here at the head, we painted in the mouth black all the way around, and we also painted in the teeth silver here. So instead of having just yellow all the way around, now we actually have paint in there, which makes it look a lot better. And then lastly, the tail. So what we did was we took a missile, we shaved it down, and we painted it a granite gray color. Now I think the granite gray meshes pretty well with the gray of the tail. So when it's in this form, it looks, you know, kind of like a tail. When it is all the way up, and it will still launch, I also painted the end of it a little kind of circle black there to look like the end of a gun barrel. But, you know, you can put it in that shooting form if you want to. But when it is all the way down, I feel like this looks much better than the missile or no missile at all being in there. And when it's in Megazord form, it looks pretty good too. So we just made a customization to the missile there and painted it so that it looks a little bit better. Now I could have done a better job on the tail, but I think it turned out pretty well for what it is. So there are the customizations to our Sabertooth Tiger. Once again, nothing major, but I think it makes a big difference. All right, next, let's go ahead and check out Triceratops. Now, same thing with Triceratops with the tail here. All we did, we didn't modify this missile, we just painted it granite gray so that it blends in better. It'll still shoot off and everything. And then we took the head apart and we painted around the head. We painted all of that silver white the way it should be. And we reapplied our decal. Had to put a little bit of glue on our decal to get it to go back on there really good. Now, Blind Drummer 15 is going to be releasing the decals for this Megazord. So if you want to take decals off or anything like that, I don't know what all is going to be included on the sticker sheet. But if you do end up doing this and you mess your sticker up or it rips or whatever the case may be, I'm pretty sure a lot of these stickers are going to be included on that sticker sheet. So if you really wanted to customize and you messed up the stickers, I'm pretty sure we can get replacement stickers. So that's all we did to Triceratops, was just the head and then the tail there. All right, we did not have to do anything with Mastodon. There's something I'll talk about at the end with Mastodon. Pterodactyl, the only thing we did with Pterodactyl was swap it for the initial release Pterodactyl. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, the problem with Pterodactyl is it looks one way in single Zord form, and then when it's attached to the Megazord, it looks a different way. And I prefer the gray. Now, I thought about using the other Pterodactyl and painting all the parts that show when it's on the Megazord a gray or a silver color, but this is already gray. It doesn't have the black line on it. This side of the tail is gray. This was just much easier to go with. Technically, you know, if you wanted to kind of get the best of both worlds, you could paint the head white, you could paint the sides pink, and paint this in right here, because technically it should be on the sides and not this single line stripe here on the back. You could paint the inside white underneath the stickers, so all this gray that you're not going to see when it's on the Megazord, you could paint all this white inside here, even this side of the tail if you really wanted to. You could leave all of this gray. You know, if you use the other one, those silver wings looked kind of nice, but I just prefer this right here because most of the work's already done. It looks the way I want it to, and I really don't care about the inside of the Pterodactyl personally, because this is going to stay in Zord form on my shelf. All right, so Tyrannosaurus. So right here on the legs, about halfway down, I painted a black stripe inside of those grooves because it just looks better in Zord form. That's what it looks like, and it doesn't look bad at all in Tyrannosaurus form here. So painted those black stripes on there. The vents on the sides of the jaw right here, they painted those black. Now first they were white, which wasn't really correct either, but it looked better. It looked closer to being accurate. When they painted them black, it just didn't look right. So I took my silver paint pen and we painted both sides of the vents in silver. The teeth were white on the upper portion of the head here. I painted all of those silver all the way around. And then on top of the head here, we painted the silver portion and outlined it in black. And I think it just makes the head look a lot better. Now, technically, the eyes should be more of a dark blue. These are more black, but it's really not that big of a difference. So I didn't really mess with the eyes, but if you wanted to be completely accurate, you would have to paint these more of a little bit of a blue color. Now, on the Megazord face, so what I did was I took my silver paint pen and I colored the mask all the way in up on this final section, because this is normally red, this very upper little portion right here. So I brought the mask all the way up by coloring it in silver. I outlined the eyes with my black Sharpie marker, my really fine tip marker, to get in there and do that properly. And those two little changes I think makes a lot of difference. Now technically we should have done a silver portion on the nose all the way up, but my metallic marker wouldn't get in there very good to do that, and I didn't want to get metallic paint all over the place. So I think this right here, just what I did, looks a lot better, and we just went with that. So let's go ahead and get this in Megazord form. All right, so here we have our Megazord fully combined into Megazord form. The things that stand out the most are the tails, the painted tails, the modified missile to look more like a tail on Sabertooth Tiger. I think make a world of difference. We got the black lines very visible right there on the front of the Zord. We went with the original pterodactyl, no black line, no white showing. I think it looks a lot better. We fixed the mask a little bit. Like I said, we brought it up higher, outlined the eyes in black. Just those little things. You don't really see it too much, but the front of Sabertooth Tiger's mouth down there. We've got Triceratops' head actually white the way it's supposed to be. And these things I just think make your Zord look a lot better in Zord form. And if these things would have been done from the beginning, with the, even if they did the missiles with the tails, if they would have included a more realistic looking tail, one that was gray for Triceratops, one that looked more like the tail extension for Sabertooth Tiger, these little bit of additional paint apps that I've added, I mean, this thing would have been amazing. It's still a great Megazord, but these little changes really make a difference. With the Megazord arms, so for some reason, I'm going to get a little closer. So right here with the Megazord arms, we have two clearly visible screw holes that are facing forward when this is in Megazord form. Now on the back, you do not see any of those screw holes. So this side was solid, and the front side, which is clearly visible in Megazord form, when it's right here, these are clearly visible. Now, I asked myself, why would they do that? Why did they make it visible when on the other side you couldn't see it? If they would have simply turned these and swapped them, put this arm over here on this side, this arm over here on this side, so you don't see those when it's in Megazord form, unless you turn it around and look at the back of it, I feel like that would have made more sense. So I was trying to figure out if maybe there was a reason why they did that. Maybe in Mastodon form, they would have been too obvious, so they didn't do it that way. But that's not the case. When this is in Mastodon form, these are down and they fully cover the holes. I think they assembled this wrong. I think possibly when it was designed so you wouldn't see these in Megazord form. They would be on the back, and then in Mastodon form, it would cover those holes so you wouldn't see them there either. And it's actually possible to switch these. All we would have to do is take these apart, swap the actual leg pieces that come out of the inside. So you can take this off, take the arm off, switch the arms, and then so the fist is oriented properly with the thumbs on the right side, you simply take these out and swap them. And then you won't see these holes anymore. It will turn this around. The only problem is you have to take off these decals to get to the screw holes that you need to take these off to get the arm off. And I really didn't want to mess these up. So I did get a hair dryer to help heat them up, and I want to try to save them. But if BD15, when he releases his sticker sheet for this Megazord, if they include the Mastodon arm pieces up here for the pauldrons, so if I mess these up, I have replacements, I might go ahead and swap this out. But that's just something I wanted to point out. Didn't really make sense why they did that. I think they made another mistake on there, because it would have made much more sense if they would have put them on the opposite sides, considering it can be done, so you didn't see those when it's in Megazord form. But there is our Megazord, guys. Like I said, nothing too crazy, just some basic customization and upgrades. Maybe one day we'll get crazy with it and take it completely apart, paint all of the gray like a chrome silver color, and just add as much detail to this thing that we possibly can. But for now, I just wanted to do these basic kind of changes and upgrades. Let me know what you guys think. I think it greatly improved the look of the Megazord. We'll take one last little look at some comparisons of before and after of the individual Zords, and then we're going to wrap this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, everybody, I'll see you next video.